Good morning. There we go. So we're just doing some warm-up songs, some protocol. So we don't need to stand. Just to let you know, we will call the meeting to order in a bit, but we're just going through morning protocol. So we will not need to stand for these songs, but we will get underway very shortly. So, miigwech.
Is Angus in the booth with the headset on? That's fine.
Going to be online. You don't have your OE up your laptop.
So give or take, yeah. I do have my own laptop, but not the headset.
Headset we can hear.
Yeah, we have a headset.
But we're
We're gonna have to put you in the hallway. Yeah. We only have the one room. Angus is in there. Are you doing free translation or Angus is doing ocean free. Translating ocean free. We do have two different channels of translation. Have you in this main area? Have you with a laptop, and you'll be able to see here. No, there isn't anything like that. I think we'll find somewhere comfortable for you, though. You can tell me. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Good morning. So we're about to start. We're going to open with a grand entry. So if we can have all the chiefs or proxies to the back or to the front, the entrance, please. So we can have your assistance as part of the grand entry and bringing in the flags. So if we can have all chiefs in the back, and somebody will explain what's going to be happening over there. You can bring in your flag. Migach.
खुला था ना, स्क्रीन शेयर भी नहीं हो रहा है ना यहाँ पर, म्यूट।
All sign in here.
Yeah. I got 4 altogether.
Okay,
one more.
so they can all sign in. Don't forget to sign in. Like, come out here.
Okay.
And then just initial here.
Yeah. I think, but it's proxy, but no, so, okay, the observers sit in this section. The chief will sit around the table.
Okay.
Alan Jolly.
Yes,
Yes. And that's it. So at 20.
can you hear me? Can
You're another one?
you
Okay.
hear me? It's Chief Alan Jolly here, Quebec. No.
So I put 15 chiefs and 5 proxies, so that equals 20. So nobody gets mixed up. 14 here. I'll make another copy.
So here's the loan documents.
Miigwech, thank you. Normally, we would have Grand Chief introduce the elders for the opening prayer, but Grand Chief is part of the grand entry. So I'm going to ask Elder Barney Batiste and Elder Helen Cromarty to come up and do the opening prayer. I did see, there they are, if we can have Elder Barney and Elder Helen to come up for the opening prayer, and then following which we will have the flags brought to the front.
Got a slow start, we'll have a strong finish, eh? So, welcome everybody to this conference. It's a long journey this past couple of years for us to get here. We'd like to acknowledge the drum, acknowledge the chiefs, councils, grand chief, women, youth, citizens to this conference, and we look forward to having a good deliberation about matters that face our people. We, as always, call on the Creator to be with us throughout this conference, and we just thank God that we're here. We have lost people along the way, but thankful to the chiefs, staff of NAN, and all those that have helped us along the way to bring us to here. And so I'm going to leave it to Helen to do the opening prayer now, and there's Helen and I to create a balance here and that, to start this conference. So I'll leave it to Helen.
Wachia. Good morning, everybody. I'm grateful to be here. Very happy to see all of you again. And we have to remember that those that we leave behind, that we pray for them as we are here, that they stay safe, and that we stay safe, that we will come together again when we finish. But this is work. We are working for all of them. Today we give thanks to the Creator for what He has given us. Kinanah kumamen, siya manduho nikegun kamin siyak, kuyak chito dadiak, kuyak chiminuene mediak. That we work with each other respectfully and in kindness always. But to always keep us mindful of the needs of others. Kuyak chinene mayak ito akakinawiyak. Nantake humagayawats, nantake nikate humagayawats, koyak chito dadiak. We ask the Creator for direction. Anintake nishap museak. We ask the Creator for strength. Chumaskauziak, kuekatutamak, koyak chiankiak. And we ask Him for guidance. Koyak chianitutamak, kuekap museak. Anintake nishayak. Anin te kene tutamak, anin te kejo na chikeak. Koyak chisek na kita shikeu nanak. That things go well in our communities. That our health, our work, and our families and communities continue to prosper. We thank the Creator for that. We ask for many things from the Creator always. He has given us many things, all those good graces and gifts He's given us. But we must also respond to the Creator always. That when we ask for something, we acknowledge the Creator always. And that we all work in love together and We thank him for bringing us all together safely to this meeting. And we thank him always. Amis na nakumanan kseman to kwekchitu tat yagi kaun wikawitsamane ni mayat. Kinasne na nakuman huwagat utamakayan tukiyak. Kaya msikayak kaya. Amis na nakumanan kachinskazukoche. Amen. Good morning, everybody. Thank you.
Miigwech, you can bring the flags to the front, please. Thank you.
So remind me again? Okay. Good morning, everyone. That was a beautiful grand entry. Are we online now, too? And good morning to those listening on Wawate, Facebook Live, virtual, those who are participating online in our communities, and of course taking part in our 3-day event here. So I am going to call up Chief Chad Busno to do welcoming remarks on behalf of Outagamie First Nation. Chief.
Thanks, Derek. Good morning, everybody. Anin, Wache, Buju. Welcome to the traditional territory of Outagamie First Nation. We share this territory with many First Nations as it's a central hub for many of our northern communities that fly in and do some shopping or head down south. Makes it more easier for them. Usually this gathering is held on the First Nation communities, but we appreciate that the organization is considerate that COVID is still running rapid out there, and
Matagami has done a lot to keep our community safe, and we respect that the organization has considered that. This darn COVID, has been running rampant for the last 2 years, and this effect has some minimal or major impacts in some of our communities. I'm sure we all know someone that we may have lost to this virus, or someone that knows someone that has gone to the spirit world because of this virus, and that's very unfortunate. But Health Canada has worked pretty hard and to come up with a virus to help protect us all. And after 4 needles, I think I feel pretty safe. But I'm sure there's going to be another 4 more needles coming out there sometime. We got this monkeypox happening now, so that's something else to be wary of. It's been a while since we had this NAN face-to-face gathering, and I'm pretty sure our last Keewaywin was done by Zoom, if I'm not mistaken. So what about that Zoom, or Teams, or whatever else is out there to help us communicate during that COVID? Everybody says that made it possible to continue day-to-day business, and we saved a lot of money because of COVID, and still got things done. Well, I like to disagree with that to a certain point. I'll be honest. I've had to hide my boat in the snow machine and take a tire off my truck there because of I had planned for 3 trips to Toronto and 4 to Thunder Bay. Just kidding. All joking aside, COVID ran rapid in some of our communities and had major complications for some of our people. Canceled surgeries, treatments. The mental stress became a big problem for some of our communities and our members. The restrictions we put in place to keep this virus out meant that we have to keep some of our community members out, and that was not good for everyone. We may have saved a lot of money in some areas while Indigenous Service Canada was throwing $50,000 and $80,000 at us, and and telling us, don't worry about reporting. You could roll it over into the next year. Well, just make sure you take care of your community, get the basic stuff to survive, and keep your members safe. So I like to think Matagami did a good job, and hopefully all the other communities did a good job. And the only problem is now is reporting time, and we're running around tracing invoices and receipts and stuff around to get these audits in, and it kind of made for a lot of work for our finance committee and our finance department, and I'm sure some of you can agree to that. The penny pinchers out there want us to identify every last cent, right? So it got to the point like you can only buy so many trailers and build so many isolation homes that for a community of 200 people, it don't make sense to have 15 of them in our community. But and with these trailers, isolation trailers, it drove our people mad. We had to isolate for 14 days, and that's it could be it was hard for some of our members. And it made it challenging for chief and councils and for our health departments and for everyone in the community. So enough about COVID. Sorry. Enough about COVID. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. I'm just glad to say that Health Canada, when they came out with the vaccine and fast-tracked it, that they put First Nation people on top of the list with other people that had underlying conditions that needed to get the needles first. And again, like I said, maybe another 4 or 5 needles to come with the monkeypox virus coming around that has made its way into our country. So the theme of this conference is Build It Right. And that's right down my alley. I kind of hear that from my better half 2 or 3 times a week when I'm putting together those dressers and tables and stuff like that. There, some of you may have seen my work and you may agree with her. It looks like we're going to have a couple of nice days ahead of us there. The sun's going to be shining. I'm looking forward to seeing where our NAN delegates and are at with the business that came to quite a halt way back, I guess about 2 years ago when COVID hit us hard. I'd like to see where they are with some of the projects that they're working on, and I hope everybody enjoys their stay here this week and that we can have some good dialogue to continue servicing our communities and members alike. So, Jimmy Witz, thank you.
Thank you for those remarks, Chief. Next, we're going to call up a representative from the Elders Council, Mr. David Fletcher.
First of all, let me welcome all of you to our Keewaywin. It's been a long time. I don't think we've had a Keewaywin since the year 2019, if I'm not mistaken. I know we had one up in Kingfisher. But unfortunately, the air quality was so bad that the elders decided that it wasn't a good idea to attend that assembly. But nevertheless, here we are today, and I welcome everyone. I'm very happy to be here to join the delegation to this assembly. Keewaywin is something that we've always cherished as a time to come together, to talk about those things that have troubled us in our communities, and also to talk about those accomplishments that we all enjoyed in our communities. So we tend to balance the positives with the negatives, and hopefully when we leave here on Thursday, it'll be all positive. And I pray also each morning that will, in fact, will come about. I listened to my fellow elders this morning, and it was a reminder also to keep the Creator close to our discussions and our thoughts during over the next 3 days. You know, it's always a good idea, and it's always a good practice that in our very busy lives, in whatever we do, that we stop to acknowledge our Creator and give thanks. So with that, I would like to say that we continue to hope that our Creator stays with us throughout these 3 days. And I continue to hope that whatever we made promises to our Creator in our own personal way, we keep that as a guidance with our discussions today. Thank you very much for coming together, for your attendance. I was really looking forward to this coming here the other day, and I hope we all enjoy ourselves during our deliberations. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. Up next, we're going to have a representative from the NAN Women's Council, Celine Sutherland.
Good morning, everyone. Managishabayo. Ninanas ko muna is panagibitche nani boyanota. Pita beo dosin. E kumaka gaya mehtano ma hao igi masana higatek. Mr. Wajimana Hitehe. Good morning, everyone. My name is Celine Sutherland. I am from Fort Albany First Nation. On behalf of the NAN Women's Council, I would like to welcome the chiefs and proxies to the 40th Annual Keewaywin Conference. I would like to recognize the drum, which opened this morning in a good way. Thank you also to Barney Batiste for the prayer, and to Helen Kumari for the prayer. And thank you to the Chief Chad Poisano. He did a really awesome job in his speech, and the community of Matagami First Nation for hosting the 40th Annual Keewaywin Conference. I would also like to thank the NAN Executive, Elders Council, Ushkatisa Council, and the NAN staff for bringing us together this week. It takes a lot of work to get something like this going very well. The NAN Women's Council has a diverse membership with representatives from across NAN. Each member brings a wealth of experience to the table. As an elected council, we take our leadership role seriously. We try our best to ensure that women's issues, family issues, and concerns and priorities are addressed in the work undertaken by NAN. The annual Keewaywin Assembly is where we reflect on the work that NAN has carried over the past year. It is also a time to look ahead at the work that remains to be tackled. NAN Nation has many dedicated staff which are mandated by you, our chiefs in assembly, to bring issues, concerns, priorities, and situations forward to the government with the goal of true self-determination. It is the Women's Council's firm belief that women must be included at the decision-making tables. Our elected leaders must support and adopt the same principle. NAN First Nation communities in the NAN organization must consistently and systematically ensure that guidance, input, and wisdom from women is embedded in all their work, policies, initiatives, and programs. By setting the bar high and involving our women in meaningful ways, we will increase individual and collective capacity and create positive change for our citizens. In February 2020, the members of the NAN's Women Council signed the Anishinaabe Nation Women's Declaration, which affirms the belief that teaching that our women are sacred and that we carry sacred responsibilities. The NAN Women's Declaration also states that each Anishinaabe woman has a right to enjoy a fulfilling and happy life in conditions which ensure dignity, promote self-reliance, and facilitate her active participation in the community. On behalf of the NAN Women's Council, I humbly call on the leaders gathered here to honor the natural, sacred leadership roles our women hold. In doing that, we will be encouraging and supporting the development and sustainability of healthy, prosperous communities. The NAN Women's Council is looking forward to the presentations and discussion that will take place this week. In closing, I thank you all for journeying to be here and wish everyone a good and productive week. And lastly, I just want to thank Loretta over there for printing out this paper so that I can read it really effectively in large bold, so I won't have to pull out my reading glasses. Anyway, have a good day all. I guess.
Thank you, Celine. And last but not least, our NAN Youth Council member, I don't believe a name was given to me there, Annabelle. Mallory, come on up, Mallory.
Cree, and I come from Constance Lake First Nation. I am part of the NAN Ashkizuzek Council. On behalf of the council, I would like to acknowledge the land we are gathering on, which is Treaty 9, the traditional territory of the Ojibwe, Cree, and Oji-Cree peoples. We would like to thank how we opened the gathering with the drum and the Elder's Prayer. We would like to recognize the sacred items and the community flags within this room. I would like to thank NAN staff for the hard work they have put into organizing this event. I would also like to acknowledge the Elders Council as well as the Women's Council. I would also like to acknowledge my fellow council members, Ashley, Jericho, Janine, Taya, Erickson, and Linden. The purpose of the Ashkiz Council is to be the voice for our youth across NAN territory. We represent the voices of 49 NAN communities across Northern Ontario, which includes Treaty 9 and 5. It is crucial that we hold these spaces and our voice is heard. I would like to say a warm welcome to you all, and I hope you all had a safe journey here. I'm excited for the conversations we will have over the next couple of days. Be sure to spend your money wisely at the casino. Miigwech, and have a good day.
Okay. So we got a call to order by the chairpersons. We got to pass a resolution 2208. Adoption of chairpersons for the 2022 Keewaywin Conference. Be it resolved that the chairpersons of the Anishinaabe Nation 2022 Keewaywin Conference, August 9 to 11, 2022, shall be Adam Fiddler, Connie Gray McKay, and youth co-chair, name again? Janelle. Moved by, can I get a mover? Chief Nakaji from Fort Albany. Seconder, Chief Wayne Wabi from Beaver House First Nation. That's it? All right. Adam. Connie, whoever. All right.
Just quickly, just want to acknowledge our one God and want to acknowledge the territory we're in. Beautiful, beautiful territory, and look forward. It was an honor to be able to carry the Eagle staff this morning on behalf of the veterans, those who fought for our freedom. Just want to say Kichimiigwech for that opportunity. How I got called up was I was a Canadian Ranger briefly, so here, King of Me Tongigo. So I thank you for that honor, and look forward to the next few days with you and listening to your deliberations. And I honor the work of the chiefs. I know how hard it is, and really look forward to hearing Kini Kitego. And also want to acknowledge the Women's Council, the Youth Council, the elders, and the morning prayer and the sacred items in the room. Kichimiigwech.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Janelle Golinowski. I'm the youth co-chair from Matagami First Nation. It's a huge honor to be here, and I'm looking forward to a great meeting. Thank you.
Miigwech, kanin nanakum nogum gagzibag, miigwech, benmangan nanakum amandu, wenogum gazawin mwek, ego miigwech kagi madegewach, kag pakanamwach, miigwech kchihag kagi pakanamwach wenogum gagzibag, miigwech. It's good to be here, good to see everybody. So let's get right into business. We've got two procedural resolutions that we'd like to get into. The first resolution is to accept the rules of procedure. So if you look in your kits, it is the same rules of procedure for a number of years. I believe the last time there was a change made was at the last in-person Keewaywin conference in 2019. The number for proxy was changed from 25 to 23. And we do have, The number for was changed from 25 to 23. That's for quorum. That includes chiefs and proxies. So that's on number 6 for establishing quorum. The other change that was made during the world of COVID was for virtual meetings. So there is an accommodation for chiefs and proxies to join virtually. Just to let you know, we do have a number of chiefs that have registered virtually, and they are joining online. So for us, we are monitoring our screens when it comes to a vote, or if any chiefs want to speak, raise their hands. We've got staff that are helping us out. So that's outlined in sections, starting from section 14. The number of chiefs that are online is included in determining the quorum. So just to let you know. So again, it's a fairly straightforward, same rules we've been following for some time. So I will need a resolution to accept the rules of procedure. Resolution 2209. It reads, it's titled The Adoption of Rules and Procedures for the 2022 Keewaywin Conference. It reads, be it resolved that the rules and procedures are adopted for the purposes of the Anishinaabe Nation 2022 Keewaywin Conference, August 9th to 11th, 2022, dated at Timmins, Ontario, this 9th day of August 2022. So with that, I need a mover. Can I have a mover to accept the rules of procedure? Chief Busno, Matagami, Miigwech. Can I have a seconder? Chief Black, Wagwishik. Thank you very much. Any opposition to the resolution? Any opposition? 3 times. Any opposition? I see none. Why not? Let's raise our hands. All in favor? Thank you. Resolution is carried. So, Miigwech. So the next resolution is going through the agenda. And just to let you know, there were draft agendas that were emailed to you, chiefs, some time ago. There have been some modifications, so you should have a copy of the latest agenda in front of you. Also, if you look up at the screen, the agenda is there, but I'll go through the agenda that we have presented. So we did have the grand entry for day 1, August 9th, the drum, the opening prayer, welcoming remarks with Chief Busno, the NAN Elders Council, the NAN Women's Council, and the NAN Youth Council. We then have the call to order. We have the resolution to accept the co-chairs, the call to order, and then the review and the acceptance of the rules of procedure, the review and acceptance of the draft agenda. We'll need the 2 resolutions, of course. We'll have an opening address and the annual report with Grand Chief Fox. It calls for a break, but I think we might forego the break for this morning. We just got started. 11 a.m. we were to have the audit and the financial report. There will be a resolution as part of that presentation. That'll be introduced by Chief Administrative Officer Michelle Sanderson, and the auditor, I believe, is here. I see him in the back, Marcel Gagnon from MNP. We'll then have the Ushkadiza Council update. The council will make that presentation. We'll have a lunch break. We'll have some information on the lunch break and what will be happening. We'll explain just before the break. 1 p.m., the NAN Housing Strategy Implementation. We will have a resolution as part of that. It'll be led by Mike McKay, the Infrastructure and Housing Director. At 2 o'clock, Deputy Grand Chief Ajni Beneskam will be presenting her annual report. We hope to have a break at 3 o'clock, 15-minute break, and then we'll have Deputy Grand Chief Narcisse do his annual report. Immediately after that, he will make a presentation on the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal. At 4:15, Sustainable Initiatives, Climate Change and Economic Development update with Deputy Grand Chief Linklater, as well as Jennifer Constant, the Policy Advisor for Sustainable Initiatives. And then we'll be adjourning at 5 o'clock today. So that's day 1. Day 2, We have on the agenda the drum and the opening prayer at 9 a.m. We'll have the call to order, 9:15. We'll do a quick summary of day number 1, and then we also will have opening remarks from the acting mayor of Timmins, Kristen Murray, who I believe is a member of one of our Anishinaabe Nation First Nations. So we'll have the acting mayor of Timmins come in and do a welcome tomorrow morning. 9:30, we will have the proposed nuclear waste deep geological repository near Ignace, and that'll be presented by Jennifer Guerreri. We'll have a quick break, 15 minutes, and then 10:30, the United Nations Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, that's UNDRIP. That'll be introduced by Deputy Grand Chief Ajni Benescom. And then we'll have Ovid Mercredi and Natalie Binglis. 11:15, the cumulative impact case against Treaty 9. I believe that'll be in camera. We'll need to confirm that. There is a resolution as part of that presentation, and that'll be led by Chief Keeter Corsten, Chapleau Cree First Nation. We'll have a lunch break, and at 1 o'clock, there will be a special presentation ceremony with the Anishinaabe Police Service. That'll be led by Deputy Grand Chief Ajni Benescom. 1:15, NAP's border control. There will be a support resolution requested as part of that presentation, and that'll be led by NAP's board chair, Mike Matadawaban, and Julian Faulkner. 1:45, reclamation and healing strategy with Deputy Grand Chief Ajni Benescom. 2:15, the Women's Council update with the NAN Women's Council. We'll have a quick break. 3 o'clock, we'll have the Community Development of Child Care Centers. That'll be led by Deputy Grand Chief Ajni Benescom. We would like to stick to this time of adjourning at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Just a reminder, the NAN Keewaywin Awards, the banquet and the dinner will be at 6 o'clock on Wednesday at the Ramada in Timmins. So we would like to stick to finishing at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Just a reminder, and we'll make note of that tomorrow as well. Day 3, August 11th, again, 9 a.m., the drum and the opening prayer, the call to order. We'll do a quick summary of day 2. We will have at 9:30 the Elders Council reflection. We will have somebody from the Elders Council to come up and do that. 10 a.m., Deputy Grand Chief Ajni Benescom will be leading the alternate medical care agenda item. There is potentially a resolution there as well. We'll have a quick break, 10:30. 10:45, Deputy Grand Chief Narcisse presenting on the Education Reset Table. And again, there will be a resolution as part of that. 11:15, government-issued identification. We'll have an update and implementation to address policy gaps. That'll be led by Deputy Grand Chief Ajni Benescom. 12 o'clock, lunch. 1 p.m., Deputy Grand Chief Linklater and Alvin Fiddler, Georgina Lentz, Director of Health Transformation, will be presenting on health transformation pathways, transformational work, and NAN Health Transformation, immediate priorities, reconciliation, reclamation, and healing. At 1:45, Deputy Grand Chief Linklater will be continuing. This will be an in-camera session on health transformation, the federal distinctions-based health legislation. And there will be a resolution as part of that as well. Break at 2:30, 2:45, an open forum and resolutions. So chiefs, if you have any issues you would like to bring forward, there is that open forum, 2:45. Resolutions as well, but you'll note what we're trying to do at this assembly is after each agenda item, we're trying to deal with that item's resolution right away. So that it'll be fresh on people's minds, and we'd like to deal with them as we go throughout the 3 days. Closing comments, 4 o'clock, and closing prayer at 4:30. And I know that some of the charter flights will be starting shortly after that. So that's the time frame we're working on for Thursday. So Chiefs, it's up on the screen. You have it in front of you as well. That's the proposed agenda. What I'll do is I'll ask for a mover and a seconder, and then take any comments or questions, or if there's any other suggestions on the agenda. So can I have a mover to accept the agenda as presented? Chief Wesley Miigwech and Chief Metajwan Batiste. So we do have a mover and a seconder. Any comments or questions on the agenda? He's wearing a mask, but it looks like Chief Muñoz.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Chief Muñoz from Nishkandiga. It's pretty hard right now. This morning, I just got told that one of our elders passed away about a few hours ago. He was on dialysis in Thunder Bay, a very respected elder. So we're figuring out what we're going to do. But our prayers and thoughts to them, to the family, Sakane family, Mary and Linda and the rest of the family. Jagoch, we know that this meeting is about bringing issues that impact our communities. And I don't know if there's any time. We're currently dealing with a lot of issues in our communities. And I want to touch base on the addictions, the issues about addictions. I know my fellow chief there in our Matawa Tribal Council is currently dealing with that in this community. And we have Kenino and Dagumiya. We know that the drugs in our communities are rampant. There's people that are on life support. And this ties into the homeless issues and other issues that our community are facing. So I wanted to see if we can find a time how that can be part of our discussion. Because we always talk about how we're going to improve our communities. What are some of the things we're going to do? And I'd like to see that getting Inigo as a First Nation. Because right now, they will Inigo say, we're talking about it. We're trying to figure out, we passed resolutions, but yet we don't have a solid plan how we can actually address some of those issues. It's disheartening to hear when a family has to pull their loved one off life support because of addiction, because of a drug overdose. So if the executive can accommodate that discussion, more importantly, how are we going to address some of the things that our communities require, the high rise of drugs into our communities. Just a few days ago in my community, there's a lot of high-end drugs going into our communities. And a lot of our people, the most vulnerable, the youth are the ones that are being exposed, taken advantage of. So if the chair can incorporate something in the agenda, when we can have that, if there is an update, if there is a real strategy as to how we can address some of those things, some of those issues. We're not here to just talk about it. We're here to build real action that can actually make ends roads in our people that need it. We had a state of emergency on our homeless issue last year. So I just wanted to share that, Karina. I don't know if I will be here for the duration of the meeting, but certainly that's one issue that we wanted to try to. I have other issues, but I'm sure I'll figure it out in the agenda here. Okay, Miigwech.
Miigwech, Chief Muñoz. And Angijin Khadaman, what should I title it? Addictions and community issues?
I don't know. That's but addiction, homelessness. How can we provide like, what can we do here that can facilitate or fast track or urgently do things? It's nice to have a roundtable discussion. It's nice for us to sit like this and while our people are, well, it's nice to do that. But what we need is, we need something that's more concrete, that's urgently needed. We can do all the press releases, press statements that we can, but people are dying in our communities. People are on life support. Families have to make that decision. And that's something that I think this forum, this assembly, should seriously look at how we're going to address some of those things. We're talking about community issues, and this is a forum where you can bring community issues. So that's, I don't know whatever you want to call it, but it is an important thing. We've lost 2 young mothers to that already within our last month or so, and I know other communities are facing the same issue. I think it's something that's ayabago andoendagon chigago nakichigadego iwaje. I mean, my am jigishima mona kit mangaban I urge our people or shagapan anaganago their mom. A few days ago, a family of kids lost their mom. She was only in her mid-30s, and that's real. That's what's happening in our community. And so I think we have it's incumbent of us in this forum to try to do something. We can act. So I'm sorry for taking too much time, but I think it's important that we have to bring these kind of issues to this assembly. Okay, Mia.
Miigwech, Chief Munoz. So Deputy Grand Chief Ajni Bineskam agrees. That's a very important issue, very important matter. So we will put that on day 2 at 3 o'clock. We have on the draft agenda community development of childcare centers, and Deputy Grand Chief Ajni Bineskam has said we will put this at that time slot, addictions, homelessness, and community issues, 3 o'clock Wednesday, and then Deputy Grand Chief will include that as part of one of her other agenda items. So 3 o'clock Wednesday. Does that work? Okay, very good. Anything else on the agenda? I see. Oh, proxy Matthew Anges.
the Kian Mujga Devan or just to get an update. You guys say AFN with the National Grand Chief. NAN has been totally silent on the matter. I think it's very important for us for the chiefs and the communities, or even just us as leaders, to get a general update in terms of, I know I just received another update from her office. Seems like it's getting worse. I was just wondering if there's an opportunity just to get an update from the NAN executive in terms of how their position is in terms of supporting our national chief. Thanks.
Miigwech, Matthew, I'm going to suggest we're just having a quick chat here with the co-chairs. We're going to suggest day 3 at the beginning of the open forum, 2:45. So we'll see how things go. We may not have that break, but we'll have that as the first item, sort of an update on the AFN situation. So 2:45, and we'll make sure Grand Chief is aware of that, so there can be a quick update and any discussion. Does that work, Matthew?
Yeah, unfortunately, I won't be here on the last day, but I think the delegation can proceed. I'm pretty sure everybody is kind of curious what's happening. Thanks.
Okay. Miigwech. So we'll have that as part of the open forum. Anything else on the agenda? So I don't see any. So with that, agenda is before you. Oh, mover and seconder. Are you okay with the changes? Chief Batiste, oh, there he is in the back. You're okay with the changes, Chief Batiste? All righty. Very good, thank you. So again, it is before you. Any opposition? Any abstentions? All in favor, raise your hand. We need some movement here. Quickly. Okay, resolution is carried. So thank you very much. We have the agenda for the next 3 days. So Miigwech Chiefs, with that, we'll go on to the first item, the opening address. I'm going to call upon Grand Chief Derek Fox for his opening address as well as his annual report. So Grand Chief Fox.
Somebody's mask up here. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to acknowledge and thank our drummers. Of course, I'd like to acknowledge the Creator. I'd like to acknowledge Chief Busno and Matagami First Nation and these homelands that we're on. I'd like to acknowledge the elders for the prayer. I'd like to acknowledge the councils, women, youth, elders, those listening on Wawate and online and Facebook and so on. Just a quick announcement on a side note, I'll be getting back on Facebook there this week. Some of the chiefs said, we like your Facebook, so sign back on. So I'll be on later this week for those who are watching Facebook Live. Of course, I'd like to acknowledge our leadership and our chiefs and our proxies and our delegates and those in the audience who are listening here today who are looking forward to the next 3 days of deliberations. Some of the comments from our councils, from David Fletcher, who stressed the need for this to be positive. And I agree with that. You know, we have our differences and we have our issues and we have our heaviness and loss. We know that. But I think at the end of the 3 days, it's important to leave here on a positive note. Positive in that we came together with some ideas and solutions. And as Chief Munias said, plans and strategies for real action. And my condolences to you there, Chief Munias, and your loss, to your members, to the Sakani family. We talked about the addictions at our mental health summit. And it was stressed to the executive from the audience and those who participated that real action needs to happen. That we continue to lose people. We continue to lose people to addiction, people on the streets. And you see many of them in our cities. You see them around the NAN office. These are our own members who are on the streets, suffering with addiction. And I remember going there with MPP Saul Mamakwa. We were in Thunder Bay, Sulacote, trying to talk to some of our members and help them. And some of them were not coherent. And it was a very difficult task for us to get through to them. So addictions is at the top of our list as far as action and strategy. And I know that our health deputy, Deputy Grand Chief Linklater is on it. Him and his team have been working hard on it, and we've established a date and a time for the Mental Health Summit next year, or have it biannually if we have to. We know that after 2.5 years of COVID, the addictions have increased, it seems. I don't know that for sure, but I know that in our communities, the issues have picked up as far as drug addiction and alcohol addiction and the abuse issues in our communities. I know that many of us are recovering ourselves from COVID. We are in a time of COVID recovery. So I just wanted to make those quick remarks on some of the comments that I listened to. So I want to welcome everyone to the 40th Keewaywin Conference. It's been 1 year since you elected me and our executive into office. I and we are truly grateful for this opportunity. And as I stated, we know that a lot has happened within this last year in the NAN territory. We know that a lot has happened provincially and nationally, both First Nations and non-First Nations. I know that Matthew talked about some of the AFN issues that we will delve into and discuss. We'll ensure that we discuss those issues while he is here. I mentioned that he mentioned he may have to go, but I can share with the leadership here what I know as the Grand Chief and what I'll be my plan in meeting with the Chiefs of Ontario leadership at the end of the month. I believe it's going to be August 20 that week. We'll be meeting with the Regional Chief Hare, the Grand Chiefs, getting a thorough update on what's been happening from his end. As you all know, he's on the AFN executive, and we heard some of the issues in Vancouver, whether you were listening online or taking part in person. We know that there's issues amongst their executive. So my intention at that time is to ensure that I have the proper staff with me to provide a thorough report following that meeting, a report that's legally okay to send to the chiefs of NAN to update what I can on and what has been shared with me as far as the AFN executive issues, our national chief, and so on. At our last Chiefs Assembly in May, I provided you with an update, and it is my commitment to provide you with regular updates on the progress and initiatives at NAN. So I am pleased to share with you another update outlining highlights from our first year in office. This update is not in your Chief's kit, but it is available at the registration desk. It contains an overview of some of the accomplishments from our office in the last year. As we gather over here the next few days, I'm looking forward to hearing what matters to you. I not only value your feedback and guidance, but require it. And I'm here to serve you and your membership. Sometimes the discussions we have during these gatherings can be passionate. I understand that this is a forum for you to put forth your community's desires, concerns, and ambitions. I also understand that the passion you express comes from caring about your community and its members. I want you to know that we, the NAN executive, and staff, of course, are listening. This is our second in-person Chiefs Assembly since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. We must acknowledge that it's not over yet. Many chiefs here wearing masks, and many of our communities still are practicing those protocols, ensuring safety for our elders and our people. But we now have the vaccines and treatments that are widely available for most people. And doctors are much better at treating these as compared to 2 years ago. Although for some people, recovering from COVID is still an ongoing battle. I know some of us are enduring the long COVID symptoms. Some in the healthcare sector are saying that what is happening now in Ontario hospitals is unprecedented. In the news, we're hearing about how some emergency centers in Southern Ontario are experiencing temporary closures. We will continue to push for improved access to timely and high-quality healthcare for our community members through health transformation. Deputy Grand Chief Linklater, Alvin Fiddler, and their team will provide an update later on in this assembly. I know that some concerns have been brought up with the nursing shortage in Ontario and some of those issues, ongoing health issues that will continue to affect our communities. And that should be a good time for chiefs and leadership to ask the right questions and our team to get the right direction. We are also in the process of taking what was discussed, your priorities and solutions, to develop a mental health and addiction strategy. The strategy will be based on the guiding principles that delegates identified at the Mental Health Summit. Previous internal and external reports and outline tangible steps to address mental health and addictions in NAN communities. The strategy will be flexible in that it will be periodically reviewed and updated to match shifting priorities for you and your communities. We expect to share a draft of the mental health and addiction strategy with you at our next assembly. Those dates have not been set yet. We are thinking a fall or winter assembly in the coming year. I see and hear about a lot of great things happening in our communities. I feel it is important for all of us to stay connected and share, especially when we have common challenges, issues, and solutions. As I said in the remarks of the summit, we are all stronger together. We also want to make these events as accessible as possible, which is why we will take the feedback from the surveys to make the next event align better with your expectations. And one of the things I heard repeatedly during the Mental Health Summit was the need for more land-based and language programming. And that pretty much sums up my written remarks, but I just want to share with you, chiefs. We're at 40 years now, 40 years of Anishinaabe Nation being created. We know some of the great leaders that have stood here. I see Bentley Chichu in the back. I see Stan, I see many of our leaders. Some have passed on to the spirit world. Dennis Cromarty. I think of those great leaders who created NAN. I was up in, I believe it was Kingfisher, Casablanca for a funeral, and paying respects to one of our founders. And I pray about what would they want for the Grand Chief standing here today. What was their vision 40 years ago? And that's something we need to think about as we think about the next 40 years. What do we want for our leadership, for our people? And they often stressed that need for jurisdiction, honoring the treaties, control of our services, our police services, our health services. We can't forget that. Control of our healthcare system, our school boards, education. control of our languages. I acknowledge that the Pope was here not too long ago. And I talked to many elders who had different views on it. And I support all those views. And one of the things that was said to me was, they should be investing. There should be an investment, a financial investment behind that apology. For example, language. They took the language from us. They helped take the language from us. Why don't they invest in the language? Why don't they throw a couple million at NAN to help us with the language strategy? Why don't they invest in our schools or school boards? Put it into the curriculum to ensure that those things are not lost. Those are some of the things that we need to think about as leaders, as chiefs. And I know that we do have a lot of loss. We do have a lot of heaviness here. But I know that we need to move forward at the same time, ensure that we come up with a strategy. As Chief Munya said, action, real action, big action. Leadership is action. And it is my hope and not my hope, but I know that we'll come out of here in the next 3 days with something, with a plan, with something that we have in our hands to move forward, to think about the next 40 years. And I look forward to that. We are entering year 2 of our leadership. I'm grateful for this executive. One of the things that I promised myself as a leader was to ensure unity amongst this executive. I mean, we're not perfect. We don't always get along perfectly. We're of different minds and different views, but I believe we respect one another to maintain that unity, to ensure that we are cohesive, a group, moving forward as your NAN executive to ensure that we get the work done. We don't want to be fighting or disagreeing. We don't want to be causing any distractions. We want to move forward as one, and we've been doing our best to ensure that. And I'm grateful for the executive you elected. I'm grateful for this team. I'm grateful for the staff, many staff who are here. Of course, I'm grateful for your people, the grassroots people who are listening online, the many that I'll visit, that I've wanted to visit in the last year. Half of our trips got canceled, but with COVID hopefully lightening up, we intend to visit more of our First Nations and ensure that we're more visible there. That's been the call from some of the chiefs, is to be more visible in our communities, and it is our intention to do that. Of course, I want to thank the chairs, Janelle, I think I got your name down, Pat, and Adam and Connie. I want to thank you for your ongoing commitment and dedication to this organization. They're very, their heart is with NAN. Their heart is with our people. Their heart and vision is similar, much the same as ours, as mine. They want to see a better future for our young people. They want to see the preservation of our languages. They want to see us protect the North, not just the North, protect NAN. And you'll hear some of the cases, the issues regarding our homelands and our treaties in the next 3 days. And it's our duty to ensure that we protect our homelands. NAN's are very, very unique when it comes to this entire country, even North America. We're very unique in that you got to fly to 2/3 of our communities. We have the most beautiful homelands in this world. People want that. People really want that. They want access to it. So we need to protect it. And I hear it from our members all the time. We need to protect and control what goes on for the sake of our people and our future, our nation. So thank you, chiefs. You have my annual report there. If you have any questions, bring it up in the assembly or pull me aside if you want. I know that you may have questions regarding it, and any questions in the assembly, we look forward to a healthy dialogue and discussion, and we will do our best to ensure that this runs smoothly and that everyone leaves safely, given the situation and the pandemic still. So thank you. Miigwech.
I feel like a private detective here. I'm trying to look for the next person that's going to be speaking. Okay, that's you. Okay, that's good. I was just thinking about these two beautiful ladies that are sitting on either side of me, and I'm thinking I better run out and buy some eyelashes or something. Okay, with that, I just want to say good morning again, and I'm going to call up Marcel Gagnon to do the financial report, along with the Michelle Sanderson. Mahal, you're on the hot seat.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I am Marcel Gagnon. I am a partner with MMP, and we are your auditors. On your screen, that screen, oh, there we go. You have your audited financial statements. I'll go through them and highlight some of the events. And thank you for inviting me to your AGM. I have a little clicker here that doesn't work. Oh, oops, there we go. Okay, yeah, so NAN Corporate Services. This first letter is really to the members of First Nations. Talks about everybody's responsibility with respect to the preparation of these financial statements, management's responsibility in preparing them and the accompanying financial statements and the notes, the Executive Council and Finance Committee for approving the information in the financial statements, for appointing the auditors and also approving the annual report. And MMP is appointed by the members to audit the financial statements and report directly to yourselves. Our report follows. And as external auditors, we have full and free access and meet periodically and separately with both council and management to discuss the audit findings. Next page is the opinion. So this is MMP. This is our report. First paragraph is the opinion paragraph. It's addressed to the member First Nations of NAN Corporate Services, and the opinion says, we have audited the financial statements of NAN Corporate Services, the organization which comprise the statement of financial position as of March 31st, 2022, the statements of revenue and expenses, statement of changes in net assets and cash flows for the year then ended, and the notes to the financial statements, including a summary of significant accounting policies. And in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the organization as of March 31st, 2022, and the results of its operations and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian accounting standards for not-for-profit organization. And that's what we call in the business, we call that a clean opinion or an unmodified, unqualified opinion. It's the best you can get. The rest of the report just goes on to explain the basis for our opinion, some other matters, the responsibilities of management that we talked about, and the auditor's responsibilities. And the next page, sorry, if you scroll down right to the end. And it's signed MMP LLP dated August 3rd, 2022, which was the date they were approved by your Executive Council. Next page is the, sorry, I'm having problems with this clicker. Okay, statement of financial position. Statement of financial position is really a balance sheet. It's a statement as of March 31st, 2022. lists all the assets of the organization. You can see they total $65,126,000. The liabilities of the organization in total $51,976,000. And your net asset position at the bottom shows your unrestricted net assets, or your operating surplus, cumulative surplus to date of $6,093,000, and your investment in your capital assets as of March 31st, 2022 is $7,056,000. Next page. Statement of revenue and expenses. So this is a statement of operations for the year ended March 31st. You have your revenues listed there, Government of Canada, Province of Ontario. Total revenues, second column over, $62,664,000. Funds that are flowed through NAN and transferred to the First Nations directly, $32,512,000. So your net revenue is $30,152,000. Expenses against that amount to $27,299,000, leaving an excess of $2,853,000, and after adjusting for amortization, you have a surplus of $2,117,000. Next page is not moving. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Statement of changes in net assets, just showing your unrestricted and your investment and the movement in those two accounts, showing the ending net asset position of $13,150,000. Statement of cash flow showing the money coming in and going out. Ending cash balance $41,548,000. Sorry. Your notes to the financial statements, your accounting policies. Next page. Just some general notes regarding significant accounting policies. I'm going to skip to page 11. Page 11, you have a breakdown of your accounts receivable as of March 31st. Your capital assets at the bottom, a breakdown of capital assets and the accumulated amortization. Next page. Breakdown of accounts payable and accruals, your deferred contributions, revenues that you've received that relate to a future period. You have 22 million of that. Some long-term debt, $571,000 as of March 31st. Capital lease obligations, some contingencies, related party transactions, a breakdown of the salary and benefits for your executive council. First Nation flow-through amounts. So this is a breakdown of all the programs that are operated through NAN, and the money flows to the First Nations. There's a listing there. Next page. Some more. And that totals the $32,512,000 that was included on your statement of operations. General notes regarding commitments and comparative figures. And then you have your schedules, and these are the portfolio schedules for each of the Grand Chief and the Deputy Grand Chiefs listed in detail. So those, Madam Chair, are your audited financial statements.
Thank you. So at this time, I'd like to open the floor for any questions on the audit. And if you could say your name and the community just for record keeping minutes. Is there any questions on the audit? Any questions on the audit? Second call. Any questions on the audit? Third call. So I don't see that there's any questions on the audit. Okay, stay close by. We do have two resolutions related to the audit. We will do the first one, the other one will be done on the third day, which is the appointment of the auditor for the following year. So I'd like to, okay, there you go. It's on the, okay, so it's acceptance of the NAN Corporate Services financial audit. Whereas the financial statements of NAN Corporate Services and the auditor's report for the year ended March 31, 2022 have been presented at the 40th Annual Keewaywin Conference, whereas the financial statements fairly describe the financial position of NAN Corporate Services for the year ending March 31st, 2022, whereas the NAN Chiefs Finance Committee has reviewed and accepted the financial statements and auditor's report as presented. Therefore, be it resolved that the NAN Chiefs and Assembly accept and approve the NAN Corporate Services Audit financial statements as presented for 2021-22 fiscal year, dated this 9th day of August, 2022. I will need a mover. You could say your name and your community. I will need a mover. I will need a mover for the acceptance of the audit. Name and. Can you speak into the microphone, please?
Les Lord, Mr. Abbey Creek. Proxy.
Thank you. Mover. I will need a seconder. I will need a seconder for the.
Chief Robert Nakaji for the Albany First Nation.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Okay, so is there any comments from the mover? Any comments from the mover?
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the seconder? No, no comments. So the floor is open for any comments on the audit. The first call, any comments on the audit? Second call. Any comments? Third call. So is there any abstentions? Any abstentions from the resolution? Any abstentions? It sounds repetitive, but it's something that we have to do. Any abstentions? I see none. Any opposition? Any opposition? I see none. The resolution is carried. So now I'm going to call up on the youth chair. So like I said, the audit appointment resolution will be addressed on the third day. So I'd like to call upon our beautiful youth co-chair now. Huh? Oh, okay. So I think she's going to be introducing the Youth Council update, and I believe they're not here yet. Right?
We're going to modify.
Okay, we're going to modify. We're going to adjust. That's what you hired us to do. Okay.
Miigwech, Connie. So we're about a half an hour ahead. Yay! We're going to give you an extra half hour. So the youth council are having their own side caucus. They're getting ready for the presentation. They're not on the agenda until 11:30, so we've got a half an hour. Matthew, Proxy Matthew, you had suggested a discussion on AFN, so we're going to go into that. There is a recommendation that we have an in-camera session. Matthew, are you okay with that? Okay. So we are going to go in camera for a half hour until 11:30, at which point we'll have the youth council. So can I have a motion to go in camera? Matthew, I'll look to you. Are you prepared to move that we go in camera? I see a nod. Okay, Miguel. So we will now go in camera. And I have the technical staff. I'm looking to technical staff just to confirm that we are
Okay, all right, yeah.
not on the live feed and we're not on Wawate. We're going to go in camera. So let me know, okay?